Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we are going to have our discussion on the upcoming transit of Jupiter, which is going to be taking place on April 13th. So friends, as you know that currently Jupiter is transiting in the Aquarius sign, which can be seen as a good placement because Aquarian energy is all about having a vision, being very innovative, doing something for the upliftment of the society. And just because even in the transit, the co-ruler of the Aquarius sign, both Saturn and Rahu are also in a dignified state. But that doesn't mean that after the next transit of Jupiter, it's not going to, or the Jupiter state is not going to get better. Rather, it's going to be the very good placement because Jupiter is going to be entering its own sign. And friends, when we talk from Jupiter's perspective, Jupiter's transit is not like the monthly transit of Sun, of Mercury or of Venus. So Jupiter stays in one sign for a very long time, and you can look at this transit in a way that after almost 12 years, Jupiter is going to be entering its own sign. So Jupiter has got the rulership of Sagittarius and Pisces, but when we talk about the transcendental knowledge and true nectar of wisdom, that is something which we always associate with the Pisces sign. So friends, the transit dates are going to be like on April 13th, Jupiter will enter the Pisces sign and it's going to be there for complete 1 year. So it will stay there in the Pisces sign till April 21st of 2023. It's going to get retrograde in between, like around 28th of July of 2022 till 23rd of the November. Jupiter is going to go retrograde within the Pisces sign. But like the way I always say this thing, if a planet is strong in its own sign, retrograde just adds more edge, more power to the energies of the planet. It kind of makes it more reflective as well. So now friends, in this video I'm not going to be talking about the customized results for this imminent upcoming transit. I'm just going to be giving you the highlights that what to expect in this upcoming transit. I will just give you a little bit of the guidelines, and basis your participation, basis your suggestion and the inputs in the comment section, that might give me this idea that once and when I will start making the customized videos, what all areas I need to cover. So friends, now in the rest of the video we will just try to understand, and broadly we will try to look at this upcoming transit of Jupiter in the Pisces sign. So first, to begin with, why the transit of Jupiter is important. So friends, when we talk about for any sort of growth, any sort of expansion, any sort of opportunities, for that we always have to pay attention to the placement of Jupiter in the chart and the transit placement of Jupiter. Like the way we always say this thing, being an astrologer, if I'll see any house or any area of a person's chart afflicted, the first thing which any astrologer will look at, whether this afflicted house or area is being aspected by Jupiter or not, because Jupiter only has blessings to offer. So now friends, like the way I was saying this thing, that like when we talk from Saturn's perspective, Saturn also give you strong foundation in the life, but the problem is that the kind of foundation Saturn gives, the kind of authority or power which Saturn gives, the journey, the path tend to remain filled with lot of frustration, delays, tests and trials. But when we talk from Jupiter's perspective, trust me, you cannot even imagine the way Jupiter opened the doors of growth and expansion in our life. So like the way I was talking to you friends, that when we talk from Jupiter's transit perspective, so in whichever house Jupiter transit, it gives you very deeper, very comprehensive understanding of the experiences of that area represented by that house. So only what is expected out of you is that your morals need to be strong, your honesty needs to be there, and you need to show the courage in order to fulfill or be in the pursuit of the fruits connected with the house where Jupiter is going to be transiting. Because friends, when we talk from Jupiter's perspective, definitely Jupiter is a planet of hopefulness, a buoyant optimism. So like the way when we say that in whichever area of your life Jupiter is working right now in the transit, so you can actually take that leap of faith in that area of life. When we talk about your inner confidence, trust in your own self, in your own talents, God-given talents, so all those prospects can be foreseen, or that has to be the correct approach in order to extract the best results out of Jupiter's grace. Because Jupiter's grace can be very bountiful, but at the same time that window of opportunity tend to remain open for a very small span of time. So you need to be in that action mode in order to get the best out of that. And not only that, friends, like the way when we talk about anything to do with improving your life circumstances, so that also can be attached with the transit and the grace of Jupiter. In whichever house Jupiter transit bases your ascendant, definitely you hold this potential and capacity to improve your life circumstances based to the matters of that house. Like the way we say that it's not only on a like a material or a mundane plane. Even like the transit of Jupiter gives us this access to grow beyond our limited sense of ego and our sense of identity. So like Jupiter gives us this hope, and it increases our conscious awareness to such an extent that you can connect and you can feel the divine grace. I always say this thing, Jupiter in itself represents all sort of right ethics, morals, your moral convictions, religious austerities, charities, all the goodness which can be found in the world, in the society, in the human behavior can only be attached to the planet Jupiter only. So that is how I always say that the kind of good deeds we do in our life, and if you want to see the results of that, so like whether you are a very devout like Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu person, so all the religious austerities you do, all the good deeds you do, the result of that always first touches us in the area where Jupiter is going to be placed in our chart. So that is how the grace and the kind of the gratefulness of the Jupiter works and function in our life. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say from the perspective of the importance of Jupiter. Jupiter, which in itself is the significator of wisdom, of luck, of fortune, growth and expansion. Now friends, if you want to understand it from the Pisces perspective, because very soon Jupiter is going to be entering the Pisces sign. So friends, try to understand this thing. Definitely Pisces is a dual sign. It is a water sign, and in the original Kal Purush Kundli, Pisces belongs to the 12th house energy. So now Piscean energy can be understood in this way, that when we talk about on certain levels, like when we talk about compassion, there is no other sign which could be equivalent to the compassion or the potential of compassion which Pisces energy carries. When we talk about artistic and creative talents, definitely the Pisces energy represents the deepest of the water. So even the artistic and creative potential and talents tend to remain very strong in the energies of the Pisces. And the third thing is, friends, when we talk about from the spiritual perspective, so try to understand this thing, that the energy of Pisces works in this way that it has got both the spiritual potential and the religious potential as well. Like when we talk about or we compare the energy of Pisces with the Sagittarius. So Sagittarius also has got lot of righteousness attached to it, because the concern with the Sagittarius energy is that it is a very ritualistic sign. So whatsoever has been written in our spiritual religious doctrines, Sagittarian energy is going to follow that path only. But when we talk about the path which a Piscean native can follow, a Piscean native can take. Now this could be your Jupiter placed in the Pisces sign, your ascendant is Pisces, your moon sign is Pisces. So the Piscean energy has this potential of going beyond and bonding with the true transcendental reality. So these are the kind of potential which Piscean energy holds, and that is the point which I'm trying to make over here, is that because like the way we say that even in the original Kal Purush Kundli, if the god reside in the 9th house, so the house or the abode of the god, like first house if is us, so our house is 4 houses ahead of it. So same way, if God and divinity is in the 9th house, so 4 places ahead of it is the 12th house. So this is the house where the God reside, and along with that all the communication with the higher dimension, other dimension, prophetic dreams, transcendental meditation, increasing your kundalini. So whether we talk about from the spiritual perspective, whether we talk about from the religious perspective, all these potential and these tendencies tend to remain very strong in the energies of Pisces. Now friends, before I'm going to conclude this video, I just wanted to give you a sneak peek that we understood the importance and significance of Jupiter. We understood the significance or the qualities, little bit of the qualities of the Pisces. And I forgot to mention this thing, that when we talk about from the co-rulership of Pisces. So Pisces is a sign which is being ruled by the planet Jupiter along with the energies of Neptune as well. And now what is going to be happening over here is that when Jupiter is going to be entering the sign of Pisces, initially for a while Neptune is going to be conjunct with Jupiter over there. Like Neptune will retrograde back, it will be in the Aquarius sign, but there is going to be a major portion of the time where Jupiter and Neptune are going to be in the Pisces sign. So all the transcendental, artistic, creative potential, compassion is definitely going to be very high. So now friends, like the way I was telling it to you about how to blend the energies of Jupiter and the Pisces. So try to understand it in this way, that definitely what I'm looking forward to is that, because I keep on getting these mails from people from all over the world, and all the people who are subscribed to my YouTube channel and all, that okay, I want to undertake this astrology course, I want to undertake any certification. So now what is going to be happening is that if that is the kind of thought or idea you have deep within your mindset, it is just hovering around in the universe and just trying to communicate with you. So the moment Jupiter is going to get into the sign of Pisces, many people will take interest in professional, in a very structured kind of approach towards grasping the knowledge of spirituality can be foreseen. Many people will take interest in the fields of service related industry. When we talk about nursing, we talk about any form of rejuvenation, healing, therapy, knowledge of stones, knowledge of herbs, knowledge of any different kind of therapeutic or very rejuvenating mediums and sciences. So many people will undertake those courses. Many people might switch their profession as well. Along with that friends, like when we talk about the energy of Jupiter and Pisces, many times what I have been seen is that, because Pisces is the original transcendental energy of the 12th house of our chart. Now 12th house has everything to do with the loss. Now try to understand this thing, that many times what happens is that for our own growth, for our own progress, there are certain habits, there are certain tendencies which needs to be shed out. So the transit of Jupiter in the Pisces can definitely encourage you or give you this conscious awareness of all those activities or habits or tendencies or people which need to be get rid of. Along with that, all those people who might be going through the problem of any like drug related issues of any mental anxiety, any sort of past trauma, and any sort of crisis situation, if you have been in the past, God forbid, but if you have had been in the past and you're trying to recover or recuperate from that, so the transit of Jupiter in the Pisces will definitely facilitate or accelerate the healing for all those people. And along with that friends, definitely, because now the way things are going to be happening in the transit, because this whole time when Jupiter is going to be transiting in the Pisces sign, Saturn will briefly enter the sign of Aquarius. Again, it's going to come back to the Capricorn sign. And try to understand this thing, that Jupiter during its stay in the Pisces sign, it is not going to get conjunct with slow moving planets like Rahu, Ketu or Saturn. But once Saturn is going to come back to the Capricorn sign, because the time when Jupiter is going to move to the Pisces sign, just in 2 weeks, Saturn will also make a foray in the Aquarius sign, but it's going to retrograde back again and come back to the Capricorn sign. So from the Capricorn, Saturn is going to be aspecting Jupiter with its third restricting aspect. So you can look at it in this way, that all those tendencies and things which needs to be shed out, Saturn will definitely encourage the native on that. Because friends, many times what happens is that, okay, I'll be very honest with you, the positive and the benevolent side of Jupiter is all sort of bountiful of opportunities, expansion, wisdom, right set of mentor, advisors, teachers guiding you, counseling you. But the vulnerable side of Jupiter is that many times what happens is that it can actually make you like there has to be a line, a thin line between being hopeful and being realistic. Okay, I'll give you a very small example from my real life. So I guess I have mentioned that thing a lot many times in past couple of my videos that in last August I enrolled for a short diploma course at a very like prominent film school in Vancouver. So there was this guy, he came like he was also one of the student, and like whenever there is a time of introduction, like initially when the college and the course was just starting up, he will just talk like very grandiose, very pompous, like okay, people say that okay, you should be an Oscar winning actor, I want to do something for the humanity, I want to win a Nobel Prize and all those blah blah blah. But he was also very religious as well, and like a very devoted person who go to church and all the time doing prayers and everything. But the way he used to talk, so I always used to get this sense like that guy definitely had some delusions, some issues and concerns, and later on he was even expelled from the school. There was this very extreme transit event which happened when Mars, Ketu and Sun, like there was a lot of tumultuous transit event which happened, and I was very much sure that he is going to react, some outburst is going to come from him, and that happened. And because of that, like our school and Vancouver is like very much like empathetic for people with mental issues and all, but there is a line which you cannot cross. So that guy was expelled. The whole of his presence and persona, like I was very much empathetic towards him, I was helpful towards him. The only thing which he manifested was the negative side of Jupiter. Like you can be hopeful, you have to be optimistic, but there is a line between not getting delusional. You have to be realistic as well. So that is the one thing which we generally associate with the negative side of Jupiter. Now the tendency and potential of people manifesting this kind of behavior, because Pisces energy is not a realistic energy of any earth sign. It is a sign and it is an energy of being very transcendental, like where you can have the blind faith in the humanity, in spiritual causes, and God forbid, we all know this thing that even in the holy fields there are charlatans, there are conmen. So now the beauty over here is that because of the aspect of Saturn from the Capricorn, it is going to keep your goals, your dreams, your aspirations completely grounded, realistic, and like attuned towards your growth, your progress, not making someone delusional. So that is the one thing which I wanted to say over here with this short real-time example which I experienced a couple of months back. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say over here. We all know this thing that very soon in the month of April we are going to be witnessing many transits. Rahu, the moment Rahu is going to enter in the sign of Aries, so it is definitely going to be initiating many new chapters, new beginnings in your life. Wheresoever, I have already uploaded that video, I am sure you must have watched that. So basis your ascendant, that area of life is meant to grow, develop, and new beginning is bound to happen. And along with that, friends, this entry of Jupiter in the Pisces sign is definitely going to be bringing lot of passion, lot of compassion in your craft. Because many times what happens is that if in majority of the cases, all those people in whose case, like in specific ascendants, definitely, if Jupiter has any say in your profession, like whether Jupiter is sitting in the 10th house or whether Jupiter is your 10th house lord. So many times what I have seen is that unless and until people do not have, or they are not going to put their emotions, compassion, their feelings in their nature of work, they are not going to get that sort of contentment. That is the reason these people tend to do very good in any training, any philosophical, any mode or any profession where there is a lot of potential of growth and progress and working on new details and staying realistic and righteous. So righteousness becomes very important for someone who is very much driven and ruled by the energies of the planet Jupiter. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say just as a brief overview of what to expect once Jupiter is going to enter the sign of Pisces. Lot of energy of compassion, transcendental knowledge, wisdom, healing, therapy, getting rid of old worn out people, tendencies, habits. So a lot is in store for everyone. I will look forward to your suggestions, any specific area you want me to cover next, when I'm going to be uploading the customized video of this transit of Jupiter for all the ascendants. And yes, for further more updates and notifications on the astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyawad.